So the plant is dead. This is, of course, Aunt Molly's ground cherry. What I'm thinking about doing is taking all of these inside and seeing if they'll ripen up off the vine. I'll count actually how many is here and put it on the screen. But yeah, I got quite a few garden snacks. Like I say, you have to wait until the fruit inside turns yellow, or they don't have that sweet ground cherry taste. So we'll see now whether or not they ripen up inside. Fairly easy to wipe the dirt off of beets. I'll weed as I go because I'm going to plant garlic in here. The occasional tiny one, but greater percentage of them are growing pretty big. So I don't know what happened to that. What I'm thinking happened is that it got chewed on across here, maybe by a mouse, and then it went like that afterwards. I don't know. You see, perfectly good beet underneath. So I shall keep it. Try to leave a little bit of top on it, but I don't need to leave a lot because I'm not going to use them like the red beets that would bleed a lot more out. We leave the top on to prevent a great portion of the color from bleeding out of them. These I don't have to worry about it. The last of the onions that I managed to get to grow from seed, I had those 3 beds filled out, and around a couple of these beds I put a ring of onions, and this is one of them. So I'm getting some small onions here, just pickling size. amaranth there, but I'll try not to put all that seed in the bed. A 5-gallon bucket full. I think that's pretty good for one bed. And down the far end of that bed, they didn't grow as well, so I could have gotten more. I would say if they had all grown well, I could get 1.5 bucketfuls out of one bed. Frost on everything this morning, except for the most protected areas. Of course, coal crops, the broccoli and cabbage and that's still alive. And the hardy kiwi, so they just kept on living until killing frost come, and as you can see, these are all dead. I'll get a bowl now and collect the flower buds that was there in that one pumpkin. I don't know. See, it's quite yellowed on top. If that's hurt by frost or just a little bit discolored. So I think this is how big the black fishcue pumpkin grows. And since I'm doing this one-handed, I have to put it down. It sounds hollow, so it's gotten along quite a ways. So then, of course, I kicked among it to see if there was any other pumpkins in there. I got a second black fishcue that seems to be full grown, but not quite as far along as the other one. Still got that hollow sound though. I weeded and raked this over. There's a lot of grass rhizomes in here, but you might have noticed that the sides were pretty much gone on this bed, and I had those really skinny logs there. I stacked them up 2 on each side and put them down here, so the sides on this bed is redone. Eventually I'll do the ends. What I'm going to do now is sift some of this out for top dressing for that bed. But first I guess I got to take off the coat. Well, doesn't look like I'm going to get as much out of it as I thought I would. So most of the pieces here are just barely big enough to not go through the 1/4 inch mesh that's in this. Well, let's see about this. This has been cold composting because of those potato plants that were here. Of course, the other one was killed by frost the other night too. One down further. So the top part I'll just have to fork off and put over into the other bin. Now I think there's enough space right here for me to put this down. Yeah, there's enough space. Whoa! I'll show you those worms. Wanted to show you the worms. You turn this over and there's hundreds of worms there that go like crazy. But by the time you get the camera and get back, then they're all gone underneath again. This is the thing about cold composting. When you get to the point where you want to sift it out, you've got to dig down there a ways first. Yeah, when I get down further, there's quite a bit of compost down to soil here. I guess I have to show you this now. It's a red potato, fairly clean skin. I'm going to take a picture of this. Because when we get to harvesting the potatoes in the beds, we'll come back to that and show you a comparison. That was what I had loosened up. Now I have to loosen up some more. There we go. Nice sifted compost. I turned the camera off because I decided that you didn't need to sit there for half an hour watching me sift this. This is it now. I could have fit a little bit more in, but I'm going to stop right there and I'm going to bring this over and put it on that bed. These are the potatoes and the one radish I found. Of course, if I sift some more, I might find some more potatoes there. Try and put half of it on this side and half of it over here. Take the garden rake. Now we need to get the garlic cloves to plant in there. Now, to fill out a 3-foot by 10-foot bed, you need about 180 cloves, 4 inches apart, and I put my rows 6 inches apart. So I have them sitting here with the tops on. I don't know if it's better to leave them with the tops on or to take the tops off and put them in a sack. But I have the room, so I can just leave them there all winter and just take one as I'm using it. So, quite often, you can just grab the bulbs and push this little stalk to one side, and the bulb will break right apart like that. Ideally, it's best to have as big a bulb as you can, big a clove as you can to sit. And this is a very big clove. The bigger the clove, the more food the plant has to start with. And you see, this is where the roots were. So they come apart, and you've got this little flat part down here where the roots had come out, and the pointy end on the other end. This one had 4 good cloves in it. You don't technically need to take off this papery husk. I just do. Now the funny thing is you can get bulbs like this, so This probably is because it didn't get enough cold during the winter, and it didn't split very well, so it just split into 2 cloves as opposed to 4. The thing is, I don't know if it makes any difference. These are basically clones of the original plant, just like putting in potato tubers is a clone of the potato plant. Putting in a garlic clove is a clone of the previous garlic plant. And it's hard to tell whether or not it was due to genetics or something else why this one only gave 2 cloves. So as long as the cloves are big, then I just take them. So I'll just get 180 cloves out now, and then we'll go outside and plant them. So this is what 180 garlic cloves look like. They are all good sized cloves. These are the smaller ones, but if you were using a clove of garlic, that would be a nice sized clove as well. And I've got some really big cloves there. Now, I never had any plants that were more than 4 cloves, so that means that this is more than a quarter of the plants that I had grown. 4 cloves each plant, you got to take 1 clove from a plant, right? So now we'll go out and plant these. I had forgotten that I had made this board. It's 5.5 inches wide, and these slots are 4 inches apart. Because it's 5.5 inches wide, I can put my hand in here on the board, and weight is distributed out over. I'm not putting a lot of my weight on one spot. So I could go all the way across, and with this, how I fluffed this up now, it should be pretty easy to just poke these cloves in. You take the part with the root, where the root was, that goes down, the pointy part, it goes up. If you did accidentally put one in upside down, what you would get in the end would be a shoot that came out the top, came out down here, then curled around and came up, and it would still grow. It just would be a little bit deformed. See, this bed is not exactly 3 feet. This board is 35 inches and it's a little less than that. So now if I just flip it over, because like I said, it's 5.5 inches, so that gives me about 6 inches center to center when I actually got the row done. Last year I didn't have much compost to put on the beds, if you remember, so this wasn't fluffed up and I had to actually use a dibber. I think I used the handle of the rake actually to poke a hole to get the cloves into. But now I can just do it this way. That's big cloves. I mean, you don't normally get cloves that big to be planting. You don't put them in very far, see, and they're just basically barely enough to be covered. Now, I just moved this out just like this because every time I go in there, you can see where the board had flattened it down. So I'm only getting 9 across, so I won't be able to plant the full 180 in here. No, that's 180 and 9 across. Short by 2 rows. There's nothing I can do about that. So it's gonna have to stay like that. So I have 18 rows here by 9. That's 162. 162 garlic I've planted here. Hopefully they all give huge cloves next year and huge bulbs.